Hi there, welcome to Chapter 2. In Chapter 2 we're going to talk about some other key definitions in project management. Now I mentioned the word portfolio in Chapter 1. Let me just explain a little bit more what a portfolio is. A portfolio is a collection of projects, programs and other work used to support the business, such as operations. And these portfolios are designed to improve and enhance the company, the organization, to get them to a higher level of operation and to enable them reach their strategic business objectives. Any strategic business goals that the organization has, portfolios are used as a vehicle to enable them get there. So it's as though you're looking at the entire work across the organization, be they projects, be they programs, or be they operational work. That's really what a portfolio is. I'll read a definition for you from another of our books titled Project Management Basics. This goes into a lot more detail regarding what projects, programs, and operations are. So let's talk about portfolio management on page 18 of this book. It says portfolio management is a centralized management of portfolios designed to help manage resources, determine project selection, analyze and prioritize projects and programs to meet strategic business objectives of an organization. Portfolio management is one of the many functions of the PMO, Project Management Office. Now I've thrown in another term. Project Management Office refers to a department in a company that is involved in setting standards for project management and ensuring that teams are using project management tools and templates as they should.
Now, before we round up today, we're going to talk about the Project Management Office, PMO. Project Management Office is responsible for project management education, enforcing project management concepts. They're really the go-to people when it comes to tools and techniques used in the organization to manage projects.
So with that said, let's jump more into these project management definitions, especially the definition about the project lifecycle. Have you heard that term before? Project lifecycle. A project lifecycle is a cycle of work that needs to be carried out to accomplish the project's objectives. Project lifecycles differ by industry. For example, in Chapter 2 of our Project Management Basics book, we have on page 24, we have a discussion about project life cycles and project life cycle characteristics. But if you look at figure 4 in this book, one of the life cycles is requirements, design, implement, test, and maintain. Requirements, design, implement, test, maintain. What does that sound like? It sounds like IT, software development, doesn't it? Or something to do with IT at least. So when you look at this life cycle, this is very different from another life cycle, which could be survey, build foundation, erect structure, and so on. One refers more to the IT world, the other refers more to the construction world. You see, you can have life cycles for any type of project, but these life cycles are distinctly different by industry. They are not the same. So when you hear the term project life cycle, it really refers to a cycle of work that needs to be carried out to achieve the project's deliverable. Let's read the definition here on page 23 for project life cycles. It says a project life cycle is a collection of sequential and sometimes overlapping project phases, and it defines the phases of the project from start to finish. So those broad categories I mentioned, such as requirements, design, implement, test, maintain, each one of those are phases. Requirements phase, design phase, implement phase, test phase, maintain phase. Those are phases. So when you hear the word project phase, It's referring to a distinct segment within the project lifecycle where you most likely derive a deliverable from. So the main deliverable, or the main output, if you wanted to call it that, from requirements could be a requirements document. The main output of the design phase could be the software design. The main output of implementing is the actual implementation of the software within an industry or company. The test phase refers to the teams testing the software to make sure it's functional, and the output will be a satisfactory test, a passed test, because you ultimately want to get to the point where your software has been tested and it's good to go. And the maintenance phase refers to the ongoing repetitive maintenance of the software. That's a project life cycle, and that's a key term that you need to be aware of in project management. So if you hear someone say project life cycle, be sure to understand the industry that they're referring to.
When you hear the term project life cycle, that refers to the cycle of life on the project. Is typically functional in nature. Now, to give you an idea of a project life cycle, cut to the chase here, it involves technical work, review of deliverables, personnel, and control for the project. It differs by industry. It's not the same as the project management process groups. So let's talk about these project life cycles. What is your project life cycle? A few seconds ago, I was talking to our camera folks in the room, and we talked about a cycle of life for the project that they work on. Projects they work on could be film projects, live TV, and so on. What is your project life cycle, the work that you carry out day to day? Now, to further fine-tune this, if you're working in the IT industry, just to give you an idea here, this would be a project life cycle. An example of the software development project life cycle is over here. You do your requirements, you've got the design phase, the implement phase, test and maintain of the actual deliverable you produce, or you could look at it as conceptualize, requirements, design, program, test, train, and then maintain. So that is an example of a project lifecycle. Now, talking about what we were discussing before we started to shoot here, we're talking about the life cycle of events in the film industry. So take a look here. It's a rather interesting one. A film production life cycle starts with your idea, then you move on to the storyboard, conceptualize, moving on to the scripting. The line producer has his role here, deciding the visual match and so on. Going over to the shot list, casting, rehearsals, production, editing, authoring, duplication, and distribution. Now, some of you are familiar with that, but those of you who are not, you can probably relate to what a project lifecycle is. It is particular to your industry, right? That is not a one-size-fits-all. I can't build a house using this life cycle, can I? But I can do some good film production using that life cycle, and then we can actually elaborate on the life cycle, going into more details, right? You can see it actually covers quite a bit of space. That's a rather long one. It could be broken down further, or we could roll it up into something higher level. And then we've got the live TV one, which we just put this together, storyboard in production. We've already got a script, and then live to tape. I mean, everything's happening live. There's really no editing done. You're doing things on the fly there. So those are two life cycles that you probably can relate to, the films that you watch, TV production, and so on. Looking at this again, you can see that the project life cycle is functional. It is peculiar to that particular area.